Reflector, and welcome to Open Mic Night. This is Gil, K4GDS, and I'll be logging tonight. Your host tonight will be Terry, N5RTC, and Mark, KE2EDS. We have two controllers for you tonight. We'll be kicking it off with Armin, W4AEB, and following him up on the second half hour will be Craig, K4MMX. Just a reminder, you can always text your check-in to us at 716-317-9050. And with that, let me go ahead and turn this over to Armin to start calling for check-ins.
Thank you, Gil. Good evening and welcome to the East Coast Reflector Open Mic Night. I'm Armand, W4AEB in Miami, your net control station for this half an hour. So looking for general check-ins, texts, mobiles. Can we get anybody to call in? And let's get you on the list so we can let you know what the question of the day is.
And choose ZVN. And choose ZVN.
Kilo Oscar 6, Charlie, Papa Kilo Oscar.
Hey, let's get some others to check in. We got a short list. Looking for some company. So if we can get people to text in or call in if you're mobile, any in and outs. And the question of the evening is, have you ever met a famous person?
KE8BLC. K5 YYC Mobile.
Charlie 5, Charlie Papa Oscar.
There's a little bit of a pile up there. If we can get some of you to repeat your call signs one at a time and slowly and clearly, please.
Kilo 5 YYC Mobile. K5 YYC Mobile.
I see some of you are out there are new to the net tonight. Just to let you know, you'll be receiving an email from East Coast Reflectors with a welcome letter. Feel free to go to our website and look around. There's plenty of information on there for you to read through. I'm going to start from the bottom of the list what we have so far. I have KC5CPO, Dave in Texas. K5YYZ, Charles, Fort Worth. Charles is new. I have KE8BLZ, Sophia in Mentor, Ohio. Sophia is new. N2ZVN, Allen in New York. WB8ODF, Dave, Michigan, and W2RVC, Randy in New York. So let's start again with the question of the evening is, have you ever met a famous person? W2RBC, Randy in New York.
Good evening, Armand, Craig, and everyone on the Open Mic Net. I met Michael Collins, the command module pilot for Apollo 11 moon landing, when I was working at Sierra Research. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2 RBC.
Thank you, Randy. All right, we'll move on to WB8ODS, Dave in Michigan.
Good evening, Armand, and welcome to Open Night Mic. I have met a bunch of famous people. When I was down in Texas on the radio, I introduced a bunch of people on stage for were giving in Corpus Christi and enjoyed every one of them. WB8ODF.
Great to hear, Dave. Thank you. Appreciate your response. All right, next up, Alan, N2ZVN in New York. Alan, have you ever met a famous person?
Good evening, Armand, and everybody on the net tonight. Yes, I did. Long time ago. I met Harry Gant. He was a NASCAR driver, drove the Skull Bandit 33 car. And he had an Oldsmobile back in that day. And they were touring around because they were going to run at Pocono, and they were visiting some of the Oldsmobile dealerships. And I got to meet him there, and well, very personable fella, and just loved to talk. I was really enthralled. It was quite a nice experience. 7-3, everyone. Have a wonderful night. N2ZVN.
Thank you, Alan. It sounded like you had a great time meeting those people. So, okay, next up, Sophia, KE8BLZ in Ohio. Sophia, have you ever met a famous person? KE8BLZ, Sophia from Mentor, Ohio. Do I have to correct the call sign? Sophia? Okay, well, we'll move on to the next one. So, Sophia, if you hear us, you can get back to us. All right, next up, Charles, K5YYZ from Texas.
Good evening, everybody. This is Frank, and I'm K5YYC as in Charlie. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I think the call sign was copied wrong, but wanted to say hello to everyone. And during my time living in Seabrook, Texas, down by the Manned Spacecraft Center, we spent many years as neighbors with Bill Anders, who was on the Apollo 8 mission. And a lot of you may not know, but he was really the one that took the Hasselblad camera out of the Apollo 8 capsule and shot the Earthrise picture, which is actually, I believe, one of the most famous photographs and prints out there. So, just welcome to everyone and enjoying participating in the net this evening. This is Frank, San Antonio, Texas.
Well, thank you, Frank. That was a good story, a good bit of trivia on that with the camera, so thank you for that. All right, next up, Dave, KC5CPO from Texas. Dave, KC5CPO, Texas. You out there, Dave? One more time, Dave, KC5CPO. All right, we'll move on down to the next one. Wayne, KN6SXC from Arizona. Wayne, have you ever met a famous person? KN6SXC, Wayne from Arizona. You out there, Wayne? Must be some difficulties on the air. Anyway, this is Armand, W4AEB, net control for the first half hour this evening of the open mic net. Looking for some general check-ins. Anybody mobile? Anybody texting in and outs? Let's see if we can get this list to grow a little bit more. By the way, I had met some years ago when I was a Boy Scout, I met Richard Boone from the old show Have Gun Will Travel. So I'm at the airport in Hartford. We were going on a camp out somewhere in Connecticut. Anyway, very nice fella. He signed my paper ticket, had his autograph. I have no idea what happened to that. Anyway, can we get some more check-ins, please?
Control. November 0, Juliet. Steve, near Charlotte, North Carolina. K6GBZ, K6GBZ, in and out. And 6EED, and 6EED. This is November 1, Whiskey Echo Bravo, N1WEB. KC5 CPO, recheck. Kilo Charlie 5, Charlie Papa Oscar.
KC5 caller got the KC5 CPO, Dave from Texas. N1WEB, Webb from Tennessee. N6EED, Terry from California. K6GBZ, Tom from Cameron Park, California. And K2AP, Joe from New York. K2AP Joe from East Islip, New York. Have you ever met a famous person?
Good morning, Armand. Good evening, Armand. Good evening to the net. Yes, one time I met Rob Reiner. I was at a business meeting with him, and that was the only famous person I ever met. So have a wonderful night, and you're doing a great job, Armand. Thanks for taking the net. K2AP, back to net.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. It's a shame what happened to Rob Reiner. But anyway, see you from East Islip. My stomping grounds from Copeg, so not too far from East Islip. You have a good evening. Next up, K6GBZ, Tom from California. Have you ever met a famous person? Okay, let's go to the next one. N6EED, Terry from California. Have you ever met a famous person?
Yeah, I retired from the LA Sheriff's Department. In that job, I got to shake hands with President Ronald Reagan. We were supplementing the Secret Service during an LA visit, and I was up close to Jimmy Carter under the same circumstances, but didn't get to speak to him. N6EED.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. Yeah, Ronald Reagan. Can't say much about his acting. Don't know. Didn't see too many of his movies, but he did have some good jokes as well. All right. Next up, N1 WEB, Webb from Tennessee.
Thank you, Armin, and thank you for running the net tonight. I have never met a famous person in person, but I drank at the same bar as Robert Plant. I bumped into Paul McCartney at the airport in Memphis, and I to Paul Newman at Road America at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And my father said he put his feet up on Ronald Reagan's desk. And one WEB.
Wow, that's quite an assortment there. So, but thank you for that. Appreciate the call in. Next up, KJ5IDD Tracy from New Mexico.
Hey, good evening. Yes, I have met quite a few, but anyway, I won't go into that. Thanks for running the net. Doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. All right, next up, KC5, CPO Dave from Texas. Have you ever met a famous person?
Yes, sir. KC5 CPO. Sorry about earlier. Running full duplex here and was talking on the out. But anyway, have I ever met a famous person? Yes. I used to work for a convention hotel and met a lot of people. Just too many to name. So it was a fun gig. But anyway, that's my answer. Doing a great job tonight. Everybody behind the scenes, very supportive. Been in your seat and look forward to doing it again. So anyway, 7-3, KC5 CPO.
Thank you for that, Dave. Yeah, I met quite a few famous people tonight. This is my debut, and I probably got about 8 or 10 of the East Coast Reflector people here. So they each pay me $1 to say that. So, but anyway, all right. Let's get some more mobiles, non-mobiles, people that text in. Need to add to this list. Give me some company tonight. So if anybody can text, or if you're on the radio, let's call in, please.
Kilo Echo 2, Foxtrot Bravo Tango, 32 FCC.
North Carolina. KY4 BPA, Kilo Yankee 4 Bravo Papa Alpha. KO4QMM, KO4QMM.
KR4 DIP, doing a recheck.
E8 BLC, Kilo Echo 8, Victor Lima Charlie.
KA6 BIP.
All right. Well, thank you for those who checked in. This is W4AEB Armand from Miami, the net control for the first half hour of the open mic net this evening. All right. We have KA6VIC, K04QMM, KY4BPA, KE2FBT, Brian from New York. So Brian, we'll start with you. KE2FBT, Brian from New York. Have you ever met a famous person?
Good evening, Armand, and everybody in Sierra-land. Yes, actually, I met the most famous person I met was George Steinbrenner. When I was 16 in Boy Scouts, he was doing the fundraiser dinner, and he was speaking at it at our local council. We got to meet him, shake hands with him, talk a little baseball. So it was pretty exciting for a 16-year-old kid. Back to you, Armand. Nice job tonight. Everyone take care. KE2FBT.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Go Yankees. Okay, next on the list, KY4BPA, Michael from Kentucky.
Well, I can say I met Nico McBrain, who is the drummer for Iron Maiden. My buddy set it up over down in Florida. He's got a restaurant called Rock and Roll Ribs, and actually I had dinner with Nico, and he was gracious enough to premiere an album that had not been released. He played a track for me out in the parking lot in his Jaguar. So that was probably my most memorable experience with a famous person. Back to net control, KY4BPA.
Oh, Michael, what a great experience that must have been. Wow, I envy you. Okay, let's move on to K04QMM, Roger in Florida.
Good evening, Armand. I had a little story. I don't know if people remember Bob Newhart show, Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. Well, I met Larry, which his real name was Bill Sanderson, at the Hard Rock Cafe in L.A. and had a drink with him. It was pretty cool, me and a friend with him, and I still have a napkin, a Hard Rock Cafe napkin with his signature on it, so that was pretty cool. Good memories, guys. Thanks for getting me in there. K04QMM clear.
Okay, Roger, great. Thank you for that. Hang on to that napkin with the signature. Okay, we have a KA6VIC. That's with a question mark. Maybe we didn't quite get it correct. KA6VIC. Anyone with a call sign similar to that?
I have the call sign KR4GIP, Kilo Romeo 4, Golf India Papa.
VIP.
I'm not sure if
Dan
you
in
got me in there.
Oklahoma City. Good evening, everyone. Nice to make your acquaintance. Yeah, I understand you're asking about famous people. I'm older. I met Lou Rawls once and was on an elevator with the Everly Brothers once upon a time. That was kind of interesting. And my most interesting on ham radio, though, was I was stationed on Guam and doing ham radio, and there were very few HF operators. And I actually had Curtis LeMay contact me from California. So that was my introduction to a little bit of fame. Hi. Back to you, my friend.
Daniel, thank you for that. Also, I see that you're new. You'll be receiving an email from East Coast Reflector with a welcome letter. And feel free to go to eastcoastreflector.com for more information. All right, next up, KR4 GIP, River in North Carolina.
Alright, thank you. I have met one famous person, Dick the Godfather. I've met him, not in person though, just in the Zoom room. Anyways, this is KR4, GIP, back to net.
Well, thank you for that, River. I think Dick is blushing right now. But, okay, thanks for your answer. Next up, let me call the couple of call-ins here. We've got KE2EDS, Mark from New York, N5RTC, Terry from Texas, K7FPS, Fred from Nevada. Okay, let's hear from Fred, K7FPS. Fred, have you ever met a famous person?
Well, yeah, K7FPS, Fred in Reno. I have met a number of famous people over the years. But Mel Blanc, Dr. Demento, Alan Parsons, oh my, there are a bunch. Anyway, answer is yes, K7FPS, back to net. Thank you, Armand, Craig, and Gil.
Well, thank you, Fred. Next up, N5RTC, Terry from Texas. Terry, have you ever met a famous person?
Thanks for calling on me, Armand, and good evening to you, Gil on the logs, everybody on the net tonight, and folks in the Zoom room. My one and only real claim to fame, I met Jackie Onassis, and if that isn't enough, and I'm not bragging here, I met her at the Intourist Hotel in Moscow. N5RTC, blushing, back to net control.
Terry, thank you for that. I'm sure that was quite an experience for you. Okay, next up, KE2EDS, Mark from New York.
Doing a great job. And hats off to River. You got some extra points tonight for putting the boss's name in there. Anyways, back in the late 70s, early 80s, I drove a limo for the Harley of Orlando. I met, quite a few bands. One of the coolest was Neil Schon from Journey. He was really a fun guy to drive around. Anyways, have a great evening. Keep up the good work, guys. KE2EDS. Back to the net.
Thank you for that, Mark. Boy, everybody's met a lot more famous people than I got. I had Richard Boone. Okay, next up, KE7, Kevin from Oregon. Have you ever met a famous person?
Hey, good evening, Armin. You're doing a great job. I think the most famous person I've met is probably Paul Allen of Microsoft fame, and owned the Portland Trailblazers here in town for a number of years. Met him. I was a roadie for a friend of mine who was a musician and playing at the Mint Club in Los Angeles, and I was loading up gear, and Paul Allen walked out of a building next door and right past me and got into the back of his Mercedes, and I ended up talking to him for a few minutes, gave him a CD of my buddy, and sat in the back seat of his car for a little bit and watched some CNBC on a big screen he had in there. So, super nice guy. That was my 6.5 minutes. Back to you, KE7K.
All right, well, thank you, Kevin. I'm sure that was a well-deserved meeting, considering as a roadie, I'm sure you were working extremely hard. Okay, next up, K4MMX Craig, Florida.
Hey, Armin. Good job. I've met lots of famous people, but not as famous as some of the names I've heard. I used to do live sound and lighting for various venues and met probably about the most famous one I met, and I'm wow, this is a long time ago, Grace Jones. So, thanks again, and you have a good evening. 7-3.
All right, Craig, thank you for that. You have a good evening as well. Okay, it's 8:30 p.m., and I'm turning the net over to Craig, K4MMX, to continue with the check-ins. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. This is W4AEB 73.
Good evening, everyone. This is Craig, K4MMX, for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. I'd like to thank Armand, our hosts, Terry, Mark, and Gil, for all their hard work. And at this point, we are now going to be taking check-ins. We're looking for mobile check-ins, in particular, mobile check-ins only. And as a reminder, we have our text line, which is 716-317-9050. Was that Vicky that tried to get in there? Are there any other mobile stations? One and only mobile, we got Vicky, KE8VKY. So Vicky, have you ever met a famous person?
Easiest question I've answered yet. KE8VKY, have a good night.
Sorry, didn't hear you. And let's see, we have another station here, text check-in from KJ5BKO. That's Brian in Texas. KJ5BKO.
Well, thank you. This is KJ5BKO Brian from Texas. I appreciate being able to sign on to the open mic night tonight. I have not met a famous person, but I did get a chance to stand maybe 20 or 30 paces away from President Ronald Reagan once at one of the military bases that I worked at, and I was so excited about that. Back to the net, KJ5BKO.
Thank you, Brian. At this time, we're opening it up for any and all stations. And as a reminder, you can text your check-in to 716-317-9050. Only your call sign only. You can watch the log in progress. Basically, you just simply go to ecr.radio/logs, and you'll be able to find it. So we're taking check-ins from any stations at this time, and the question of the night is, have you ever met a famous person? WB2JPQ. WB2JPQ.
Zulu Lima 2 Bravo Echo Zulu. Zulu Lima 2 Bravo Echo Zulu. Wellington, New Zealand, pushing in.
In and out. KF8, Alpha Delta Sierra. KF8, Alpha Delta Sierra.
Yeah, let's hold it up there for a moment. We've got KF8 ADS, that would be Jim from, I believe that would be Michigan. Next we had Brian, ZL2 BBC, and also we had the Godfather, Dick, WB2JPQ. Dick, have you ever met famous people?
Good evening. Good evening to River. Boy, you went to the top of the net controllers list tonight, River. You got a big star next to your name, so I will talk to you soon. And yes, I have. I try to keep it ham related. I met both James Arness and Barry Goldwater, both at the Dayton Ham Fest, not the same year, but years and years and years back. And then a little story on James Arness I'll share with you is we looked at a Bendix King watt meter in the swap in the flea market. This is back a long time ago, I got to remember. And his big long arm came out between me and another guy that I was with and reached and grabbed that watt meter. When I looked up, it was James Arness. So he beat me out, but I did get a chance to say hello to him, and along with Barry Goldwater. So that's the only famous hams, along with the River, that I've ever met in my life. This is WB2JPQ.
Thanks, Dick. Next we have Brian, ZL2BBC from New Zealand.
I don't think you've quite got that right. It's Zulu Lima 2, Bravo Echo Zulu. That's Zulu Lima 2, Bravo Echo Zulu. Paul in Wellington, New Zealand, checking in, over.
Sorry about that, Paul. Have you ever met a famous person?
Yes, I have actually. I met Sir Edmund Hillary, who in 1953, in May 1953, reached the summit of Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, and he was accompanied by the Sherpa Tenzing Norgay at the time. So that's how I met back in school when I was about 12, over.
Thank you, Paul. That's awesome. Last on this little short list, we have Jim, KF8ADS. Jim, have you ever met?
Good evening, Ned. Yeah, I have. Probably the most famous, which I guess is not super famous, was Governor Mike Huckabee. Met him when he was visiting Michigan a while back. Other than that, it's been just brief encounters with some sports figures since I traveled a lot in my work world. So I appreciate the net on tonight and 73rd.
Thank you, Jim, for being here with us. This is K4MMX for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Net. And I'd like to let everybody know that if they're interested in joining us, you can become a net control station as well. Simply go to ecr.radio/join open mic. Okay, at this time we're taking more check-ins. As a reminder, the text number to avoid the pile-up is 716-317-9050. We're taking check-ins from any and all stations. Quebec 4, Papa Oscar Kilo. K9TJS, in and out.
VK3AWA, VK3AWA.
N6QDY, N6QDY, in and out.
Kilo 1, Tango, Papa Kilo. Kilo 1, Tango, Papa Kilo.
Okay, let's hold it up there for a moment. Recognizing from the bottom up, we have Kathy, K1TPK. We have an in and out station, David, N6QDY. We have Daryl from Australia, call sign VK3AWA. And we have another in and out, Thomas from Margate, Florida, right near me, K9TJS. So let's turn it over to Daryl in Australia. Didn't do that right. VK3AWA. Daryl, have you ever met a famous person?
Good morning, Craig, and listeners and dwellers in the Zoom room. I've been sitting here listening for a while and trying to think whether, and sadly no, so my answer is no, Craig, back to you.
Sooner or later you will. Next on the list we have Kathy, K1TPK from South Dennis, Massachusetts.
Tango, Papa Kilo, and I can't say I have ever met anyone famous. I have been on a plane with two famous people. The first one when I was a teenager was Billy Carter, who was drunk as a skunk and passed out in first class, and walked by him on the way to the bathroom. And the other one was every comment about famous people is how many connections to Kevin Bacon, and I was on an MD-80 flight from San Francisco to LA with Ken Bacon, and he's really short. But it's not like I talked to him. Kilo 1, Tango, Papa Kilo.
Thank you, Kathy. It looks like I accidentally let someone slip through the cracks here. We have Thomas, KQ4POC from Fairfax, Virginia. KQ4POC. Thomas, are you still with us? Is there anybody with a call similar to KQ4POC?
KQ4POK, Kilo Quebec 4, Papa Oscar Kilo.
Hey, we got it. So, you're Gonzo from Winter Springs, Florida. Do I got the right person?
Yes, you do, Craig.
Have you ever met a famous person?
Yes, actually, both my wife and I did during our honeymoon back in the early 80s, a long time ago. We went to the Bahamas, and Muhammad Ali was holding a small venue there to a small audience. And we had the opportunity to give him a quick hello and wish him well. So that was the only celebrity I've met in my lifetime. Back to net control is KQ4POK.
Gonzo? Okay, we had a couple more text check-ins come in. We have N7FGP, that would be Scott from New York. We We also got KZ4SM, that's Alan, new to the system from Lexington, North Carolina. Alan, if your call sign is, if your email is public in QRZ, we will be sending you a welcome email. So, start with you, Alan. Have you ever met a famous person?
Thank you there. Yeah, this is KZ4SM, Alan in Lexington, North Carolina. Well, as I thought about it, the list kind of grew there. I've met a handful of famous people at, I don't know, various places I've been. Lots of people from bands and stuff like that, and wrestlers as an odd thing. And I guess the one that sticks out is the only real autograph I have is Nikita Koloff, the old Russian Nightmare. But I grew up in Charlotte, so I've, met Ric Flair a couple times too, but yeah, just a couple of folks like that. Anyway, thanks for picking me up there. KZ4SM, back to net control.
Alan. Next we have Scott from Jamestown, New York, N7FGP.
Good evening, Craig. Thank you and Armand for hosting the net tonight. Yeah, back in my TV days, I met a handful of celebrities out there. Let's see, I met Vincent Price, Steve Allen.
Highlighting
That kind of shows you how long ago that was. We also used to do telethons, and we'd have NBC people come in and help host the local section, so I worked with quite a few, like Willard Scott, some other sitcom people. So yeah, I've met a few in my life. Anyhow, back to you.
Scott, this is K4MMX for the East Coast Reflectors Open Mic Night. If you're interested in becoming a net controller, all you got to do is simply go to, Alan, this is my place here. Stand by. dr.radio/open, join open mic. Did I get that right? The text phone number, if you want to check your, text your check-in in and only your call sign is 716-317-9050. Please repeat your call sign twice and slowly.
Is W3WBB, Whiskey 3, Whiskey Bravo Bravo.
About
O,
Romeo
KE2,
Hotel Echo.
about O.
November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. November 4 station, could you give your call sign one more time, please? November 4, Roger Ham Enthusiast. November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. Should recognize the voice. Are there any other stations waiting to check in? question of the evening is, have you ever met a famous person? We got Roger, N4RHE. We got Mike, KE2FLO. And we got W3WBB from Peru, New York. Let's start with Edward from Peru, New York, W3WBB. Have you ever met a famous person?
Hey, thanks for welcome. Hey, everyone on the net. Peru, by the way, way up in the northeast, up by Canada and Vermont. I was thinking of this question. 3 folks came to mind. We were on our honeymoon up in Bar Harbor, Maine. Walked by a person. My wife and I both turned at each other, thought they looked familiar. Recognized him as Trey Anastasio, a musician there. Another opportunity, I actually met Ben Cohen of Ben and Jerry. I got to serve some ice cream with him at a charity event. And then finally, a good friend of ours is in the band with George Thorogood, so we got some backstage passes and got to meet him after quite a show.
Sounds awesome. Well, hope it's not still too cold up there in New York. Next up, we have Mike from Buffalo, New York. That's probably pretty cold too. KE2FLO. Mike, have you ever...
On the net tonight. As far as famous people, I worked in bars and doing security for about 11 years in my 20s, so I did meet a lot of sports people from hockey, football. I did meet a lot of singers, different groups, rappers, people like that. I do have some pictures of people. Probably off the head, I did meet like Metallica. I met Eminem. Just a few off the top that kind of sticks to my generation of music and stuff like that. But yeah, I met a lot of people through the job. It was kind of nice to work security at different events and then see them out at the clubs after they do concerts and stuff like that. So it was very nice. And with that, I'll say back to you, Net Control. This is KE2FLO 73s.
Mike? Last on my short list here is Roger, N4RHE from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a neighbor.
C4MMX, good evening, Craig. Sound good? Or Romeo Teleco? Yes, several, because I'm old. I had breakfast with Santana, I had a poolside with U2, and keeping with the Heat's bomb at the Barrios 83 points one night, I met Will Chamberlain at a Walgreens on Miami Beach. November 4, Roger M. Enthusiast, return to net.
Roger. And again, we're back to taking some more check-ins. As a reminder, you can follow along with the logs. All you got to do is go to ecr.radio/logs. And we also have a text check-in number, which is 716-317-9050. Are there any stations waiting to check in? Taking check-ins from any and all stations.
November 3, Mike Delta Charlie. That's November 3, Mike Delta Charlie.
Anybody else? Don't be shy.
KR4, FPL, Kilo Romeo 4, Foxtrot, Papa Lima.
KZ5, MLZ, Kilo Juliet 5, Mike Lima Zulu.
Last station that just checked in, was that KJ5? Mike Lima Zulu.
For Golf 1, November Yankee Sierra 431 NYS.
Ready, standby. This is directed net. I was calling Ezra, KJ5MLZ, to confirm I had the right call sign.
KJ5MLZ, yes sir. You have it correct.
Thank you. Next up we have Joe, KR4FPL. And then we have November 3, Mike Delta Charlie, Michael from North Carolina. So let's start with you, Michael. Have you ever met a famous person?
Well, actually, yes, I have. I know, as you all know here on the open mic, that I am a diehard race fan, and I actually met Austin Dillon, who now drives the number 3 car after we lost Dale Earnhardt. He won the Daytona 500 one year, and I got to meet him and be with the trophy. My brother-in-law set that up for me. I got to meet him and the team, got my picture with him and the trophy, and even signed my Earnhardt hat. So I got to meet Austin Dillon after he won the Daytona 500. So back to Net Control, this is M3MDC.
Thank you, Michael. Next down on the list, we have Joe, KR4FPL. Have you ever met a famous person? A call sign similar to that. Please give your call again. Down as an in and out. Let's go to Ezra, KJ5MLZ. Ezra, have you ever met a famous person?
KJ5MLZ, yes sir. I have. I've met Steven Seagal many years ago. He was a sheriff deputy in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, and he was performing at a fair. Met him and his wife. Back to you, Net Control. This is KJ5MLZ.
Ezra. And our last check-in of the evening is Stephen from, I can't even pronounce it, Battengas, don't know the country, but in any event, that's 4G, Batangas, Philippines, okay. That's 4G1NYS. Stephen, have you ever met a famous person?
All right, this is 4 Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra. My name is Stephen from here in the Philippines. Yes, Control, I did meet a famous person when I was still in the 2nd grade of my elementary. We were going to the Manila Zoo, and by chance, my mom and I chanced upon this veteran actress, Charlene Gonzalez. She was taping a segment of an animals program. That's why that was the first time that we met a famous person. 73 to everybody on the East Coast Reflector and the Open Mic Network. And supporting it, it's a Thursday morning here and sending it back to Net Control.
Stephen, for being here with us. I'd like to thank everybody for checking in and joining our net, and I'd like to thank Armand, that's W4AEB, our host Gil, K4GDS, who's been doing the logging, Terry, and Mark. We meet here every Wednesday, and if you'd like to become a net controller, all you got to do is simply go to text. Boy, I got this all mixed up tonight. Never mind. Everybody, have a good evening. 7-3 from K4MMX. We're returning the reflector back to regular use.
Kilo 1 Tango Papa Kilo, great job net control. And I'm wondering if somebody could give me a radio check. I've been told that I'm a little hot on DMR, and I'm trying to sort that out. Kilo 1 Tango Papa Kilo.
Kilo 1 Tango Papa Kilo, this is 4 Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra from here in the Philippines. You're coming in well on the digital mode. I'm using Echolink here in my homeland. 7-3 is to you, K1 Tango Papa Kilo, 4 Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra. For Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra to Kilo 1 Tango Papa Kilo. Kathleen, are you still on frequency? Okay, looks like Kathleen is already out or maybe re-establishing. 4 Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra, monitoring on the East Coast Reflector, standing by and listening.